Aloha, Professor Wieninger. If I could ask, what drew you to the Asia-Pacific Center for Security Studies?
Well, I was an active duty Air Force officer doing a lot of work on political military issues in the Asia-Pacific, and I heard about the creation of the center, and I always wanted to work here once I learned of its existence. And in 2008, when I left active duty, I applied, and I was delighted when they offered me the position. The work we do here, as everyone, or as many know, is, in my opinion, the best value for the defense dollar the U.S. spends.
What keeps you up at night, Professor?
Well, to be honest, this world is full of dangers and risks, and I think people can lose a lot of sleep over things they don't control. So to be honest with you, nothing keeps me up at night because I don't worry about things I can't control. And I would recommend everybody else do the same, because you do strange and silly things when you're worried about things you can't control.
Professor, what is it that you think makes the Indo-Pacific region so special?
Well, I think the sheer size of the geography, the magnitude of the populations, and the unbelievable diversity, coupled with the economic and social dynamism that we see right now. This is the Asia-Pacific century. It has the world's leading economies, it has the world's leading conflicts, and it has the potential for delivering unbelievable progress for humanity. And I should add that I include the United States in the Asia-Pacific.
What are the top 3 challenges facing the Indo-Pacific today?
You know, that's a really hard question. I think most people would agree that managing the rise of China is probably one of the top 3. China is experiencing enormous economic growth, and they, according to projections, will surpass the United States economy at some point in the near future. So that's the number 1. Number 2 would be climate change. The citizens of this area of the world face dramatic challenges from rising sea levels and other effects of global climate change. And the third one I would say is cybersecurity, which affects the entire world. All of our wealth is increasingly information. It's on digital networks that are totally insecure, and we need to work harder, both as nations, as companies, and as international community to secure that information.
What advice would you give to the up-and-coming generations?
Think critically and look for the best information you can. Get out of the social bubbles that social media has increasingly put us in these days. One of the big problems in our society is an increasing division between our people because they are not thinking critically. They are only listening to sources of information that tell them what they want to hear. Get out of your comfort zone. It is the only way to grow.
My last question, Professor. In just a minute or two, could you describe for us some of the nuclear power issues we'll be facing here in the Indo-Pacific as it applies to the doomsday clock or natural energy resources?
Sure. Well, the doomsday clock, created by the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, designed to warn us that we're close to civilizational ending things. The first thing was nuclear war. They added climate change a few years ago, and then recently they added disinformation. So these are the 3 existential threats to civilization. On the nuclear realm, the risk of nuclear war today is happily not that serious, although, as I mentioned earlier, the rise of China, and in particular their relationship with Taiwan, their desire to not see Taiwan become an independent country, and the possibility of conflict over Taiwan is very real. And so from that perspective, nuclear war is not an impossibility. It is still a risk. In terms of nuclear power, as I mentioned, number 2 threat in the Asia-Pacific and the world is global climate change from carbon emissions. And nuclear power holds the possibility to reduce climate emissions significantly, although people are very afraid of radiation, and so nuclear power faces a steep uphill battle because of a lack of public trust. The accidents at Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island, and Fukushima all added to that fear. The great news I have for you is that a revolution that is occurring before our eyes in renewable energy generation, and in particular solar power, is going to remove the need to go to nuclear power for our electricity. And so I actually foresee nuclear power quietly going away in the coming years as solar power takes over.